Hello, gang. Welcome to Sketchin' with Izzy. We are continuing our demon painting today. Oh, Gareth. Thanks for stopping by, bud. How was your show? I hope it was good. Welcome. Ermagerd, hi. Evening all. Awesome. Oh, thank you for the follows, guys. Thank you, Astaver, Rory. Yay! Awesome. Yeah, I just got up, so that's an awesome thing to wake up to. How you all doing today? Or this evening, actually. It's quite late for you, isn't it? Raz, PHF, thank you so much for those follows. Appreciate that. Yeah, we started this a couple of days ago. Just kind of, this is what we do in here. We just kind of come up with random ideas and paint up goofy shit and tell stories. What were you guys playing over there? On, it's almost 8. That's bedtime. Are you still playing Among Us? Or you got a new game you're playing these days? Thanks, Raz. I'm just filling out some trees. This was all negative space when I opened this, so I was like, I gotta add some stuff in there. So I'm simultaneously trying to do the outer edging of other little boughs that are coming forward, but I also am trying to hint at like where the further boughs that are on the other side of those things are picking up light, and it's surprisingly hard to pull that off in this really dark environment. I don't think I'm getting it, but close enough. Playing some Ori. Oh, nice. Yeah, no, I loved it. Loved it. I actually was just I just was messaging one of the environment artists for that. It's great stuff. Really beautiful. I've heard it's one of those games that's got like nice meaning to it too. So I had it downloaded, and I was playing it actually because of your show, Gareth. I was playing it for a little while, but that was that was the week before my massive computer crash. So that was a fun nightmare, and I lost everything. So all of my games gone, all of the saves are gone. I'll have to get back on it though. All right, so that's enough of that tree. I just needed to fill it up. Like I said, that dark space was kind of bothering me when I opened it up. But I think that populates it nicely. Get a little bit of visual noise back there, so it doesn't just feel like a little black hole cut out. Okay, and I think we talked about doing fireflies instead of the headlights. So I'm gonna do a firefly pass after we get this lighting sussed just a little bit more. Let's do, oops. We don't need multiply. Just get the darks as dark, if not a little bit darker than the trees. Hopefully everybody's New Year's celebrations were fun. As fun as they can be, considering. A lot of my friends in Mexico were saying that people were just out like any other year, partying, going to bars in big groups, dancing. Sounds lovely. But I also read The Mask of the Red Death, so I don't know about that. Giving his weird artichoke legs. Ooh. Boy, I kind of miss Mexico right now, though. It's all cold and gray here. Rainy every day. Oh, Oregon. That book is 2020 in a nutshell. Yeah, actually it is. The ultra wealthy abandoning. Actually, I guess it's 2021 already with that with our Senate ignoring the needs of the people. They made sure the military got shitloads of billions of dollars, though. Oh, United States. Why are you so goofy? You know, I kind of want to do something not carapace here. Maybe this should be some kind of... I did this magic card a long time ago. I think it was called the Grief Tyrant or something like that. And he had this big distended belly that was gelatinous, like you could see, it was translucent so you could see through it. And there were all of these like little people caught inside, like smushed against the wall of his belly. I don't know if I want to do that full on, but maybe something interesting with the belly might help give us a, I don't know, a secondary focal point. Or maybe even a primary one. Maybe this is our focal point. Could be cool. Near the place you work, there's a park, and on New Year's Eve, the park was packed. Oh, Raz. That's... And this is why we got the numbers we got. My freedoms. I may have to change the actual silhouette a little bit in order for this to work. So I'm just going to merge all this down for now. Come on now. Do as you're told. There it is. There it is. That's a good boy. Some, I don't know, demon pregnancy going on there. Why not? Why not? This is our painting. This is our happy little demon pregnancy. Happy little accidents. Not fooling around with that edge. Yeah, okay. There's something going on there. That's fun. Let's lock it real quick. Add our hint of rim light. We probably don't need it. It probably doesn't actually fit, but for now. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me. Just, you know, dropping my head a couple times. I'm doing color variations here because I think what I might try to do is imply some kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Not effervescent, that's bubbles. What is that car paint where like you when you paint it and the light hits it, you get like different colors, like a beetle? I'm totally missing words right now. It's not luminescence. It's one of those essence words. Come on. Come on, brain. No dice. Brain is failing me. It's because I just woke up. That's what it is. That's what I'm going to blame anyway. Iridescence. Ixie. You awesome. Thank you. That's the one I was looking for. Hopefully you didn't just wake up too, because then I don't have an excuse. Yes, iridescence. That is the word. Ding ding. And of course, you know, we got to just throw in some demon bush. What? Don't get all prissy on me now like you ain't never seen demon bush. Sweet dreams, Garrett. Yeah, this thing is definitely like a texture nightmare. Just double checking to make sure I don't have true black in here. Let's turn off color. And let's do a levels real quick like we talked about last time. This is our little special trick for checking to make sure that we didn't break anything. Yeah, we're still okay. There's some banding happening, but that's all right. A lot of that's just recently introduced colors. Okay. How's that build coming, Thug, for your server? I just remembered it last night. I was getting on Plex, and I was like, oh yeah. Yesterday I went on a like a full-on Disney tear. I haven't done that in a long time. I just watched Disney movies all day. Pixar. Up, Inside Out, a lot of shorts. Total Photoshop ignorant question here. If you dig it in your, it's covered in many, but how do I make it so you're able to just paint the edge of your figure on that layer? Is it masking? Oh no, that's, okay, no. That's not masking at all. So what that is if you have a layer selected and if you can see the checkerboard behind it, you have pixels represented and transparency represented. If you look up here, this third set of tabs or buttons down below, these are the locks. So if you click, this is transparency lock, this is, you can't paint on it, so it won't change any colors. This one keeps it from being moved, and this one locks everything. But lock transparency is one of the most useful ways, because with a lock transparency on, you can then paint just inside the pixels. The transparency is fixed. You turn it off. I have this set to a keyboard stroke on my Nostromo. It's awesome. It's one of the best things ever. So it's like an instant clipping mask, but the difference is that you're doing it on the actual layer. So the pixels you're changing are being changed. It's not like a clipping mask where we do this and then I can paint in. It's doing the same kind of thing, but this is non-permanent, you see? Whereas if I paint on a locked layer, it is permanent. That's done. Also, if it's a long shot, but if you're one of the people that when you're doing when you transform or when you move, you use the actual move thing like this, the move tool, and you hold shift or anything like that, you'll accidentally grab the layer that you're you'll grab the layer that you're on. And if you want to prevent that, one of the ways to ensure that you're not ever going to move something, you just want it to stay in one spot always, you hit the lock, or not that one, the move lock. So then you can't move that layer no matter what you do. Very useful. But possibly one of the most important additions, I think this was CS5, was layer lock. It's great. Why didn't you just ask? You're opening it up this afternoon. Awesome, Thug. Is it, you're rebuilding the raid, right? Oh man. What else did I watch? Jesus, like they've all mushed together. Oh, Tangled. I hadn't seen Tangled in years. That's still great. That's a really good movie. You didn't know about the move lock. Noob questions are totally welcome here. You guys, all of you need to become comfortable with asking any questions you like. It's fine. There's no such thing as a bad question in here. There are things that you just don't, that are common knowledge that you didn't know. And I learn new stuff in Photoshop all the time. You can't be afraid to ask that stuff. Come on now. You're adding a RAID 10 cache drive to it. Which one's RAID 10? I remember 0 and 1. Is 10 a new format for RAID? Adelheid, thank you for that follow. I appreciate that. You glad you joined this stream? You knew nothing about Photoshop? Yes, this counts as learning a new skill, Raz. Photoshop and painting will be explored in this stream. Okay. Addendum to the transparency lock, right? So if I don't have the transparency lock on, I can erase out of that thing, you see? But if I have transparency lock on, because it's locked, you can't add transparency either, meaning you can't erase pixels out of that layer. So when you try to erase on a locked layer that's transparency locked, it'll use the background instead. You see? So it doesn't really erase. That's one thing to remember. RAID 1 in a RAID 0. Oh my God. You can raid within a raid? I didn't know that. Jesus. I'm surprised you are trusting the 0. The 0 is what destroyed my laptop, like what, 4 years ago. I'm super wary of raids now. Although I know that it was because it was in a RAID 0, it was super susceptible, but goddamn, that was a miserable time. Let me tell you. I kind of feel like I'm missing that pelvis on the other side. So either I can make the belly slimmer or I can make the legs wider. But if I make them wider, I gotta make the arms wider. Let's see what that looks like. Oops. Oh, damn. There it is. That's the way. He's got those birthing hips. Yes. Yes. RAID 0 is scary RAID. Okay, RAID 10 needs 4 drives at least. So striped and mirrored. Oh. Oh, so it's not RAID 10, it's RAID 10. Okay. Crazy. What's your, for the class, what's your total space in this system you've built? That's insane. I remember you said that that on the server just metadata was like terabytes. It's like holy crap. Not so much a technical question, but do you ever struggle to keep the motivation to finish a painting? If so, how do you work against that? That's a great question, Astiver. And it's actually something that I talk about a lot. I lose motivations in paintings all the time. One of the best ways to battle against that is to ensure that you save your favorite part of painting for the end. So I hate painting backgrounds. I can do it, I just don't like it. I like painting characters, I like that emotional interaction, things like that. I like the story, but backgrounds I suck at, or I struggle with. It's not easy. So my system for doing that is I'll paint back to front, and then I go out of my way to avoid painting the really fun, juicy stuff that I really like to paint until the last, 10% of that painting. And what that does is it ensures that I'm going to have the motivation to complete it because I want to get to that dessert. That's basically how I treat this. Is it's like dessert. I want to get to that point, and at the same time, what it forces me to do is that the distance stuff isn't going to be as detailed. I detail it up to a certain point, and then I start building the foreground. I start building the figures, and everything gets detailed together. And it's almost like a topographical map. If you think about it, like where you're putting the amount of time, it's going to be like shallow, 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 deep, right? Or very high peak, where you're spending the majority of the time. To ensure that you do that, save that really epic time stuff for the last part, the last beefy part. RAID 10 is peak performance faster than SSDs. Really? I didn't know that. Holy shit. It's only 2 terabytes. Oh, so the metadata has to be much faster, huh? 100 terabytes. Jesus. How many terabytes is it for a petaflop? Cypher says, I swear this works. Yeah. It's just started implementing it, and it's totoloi, preventing burnout. Oh, that's good. That's really good. Yeah, we're full of brilliant advice here and horrible, horrible advice. No, come hang out with us. We meet 3 times a week. It's fun times in here. Okay, so I've got the texture in. I moved the leg. I like the leg placement. I even like the overlap with that back wing arm thing. I think now we're ready to get back into doing some darker darks. This is going to be reflective material here, so I'm just going to hint at that for later. Let's fill in these. Little gaps. Okay. Yeah, why not? Let's turn on the levels again. Okay, all right. I have to be very careful. See these darks that I'm now adding? They're too dark for the key. Even though you can't see it here, this is a problem we've been talking about. When you take this painting to another monitor, it won't look right. You're going to have potentially have these really dark little patches that don't fit. So I need to find a way to equalize that. So we can do, I'm going to copy this group for now. Oops. Come on now. No. There we go. All right. Copy the group. I'm going to merge everything together here. And now I need to mess with my levels. Maybe that can help me. that stuff out just a touch. Nope. See, this is the problem. I have broken the value key, so the relationships just aren't working. So I'm gonna have to go in and actually manually do this. Gol darn it. Gotta select the colors that are there, not the colors that are seen under that layer. And all I need to do is just soften that transition so it's not such a sharp jump in value. Controlling the value key. Uh-oh. Clipping mask it down. See what I'm doing? I'm just smoothing that so that I don't have dark patches. Oops. I just color picked from something that had levels on it, which means I'm not going to get the right colors. It's easy to forget. When you're painting, basically what I'm doing is I'm painting underneath an Instagram filter, and it can be difficult because you can forget that the Instagram filter is there really easily. So you have to, when you're doing this, you have to be extra mindful of the colors you're using, the values you're using. I think what's going on here is I just have way too much light for something that's meant to be silhouetted. So how close to finishing Ori is Gareth, Thug? You guys have been playing that for a while over there, yeah? It's a single player like narrative adventure type thing, yeah? Okay. So now we need to bring these darks up here. And I'm gonna kind of create a core shadow. See, by taking these values from the legs up into the arms, then this dark patch that I've created will make more sense, because there will be a relationship between all of those values locally. And again, I'm on a different layer with my clipping mask, so I can even blend stuff if I want. I have a really deep sort of cavernous pit right here in under the sternum. Danra, welcome. How's it going? Happy New Year. So here I kind of think it might be interesting to reinforce those overlaps. These are basically just accent values. Yeah, okay. All right, now everybody's making friends. This deltoid is dumb, and I don't like it. But now that we've evened out those values, and it all is behaving, see, we turn it off, see how it's patchy? So we just smooth the transitions between things. And now it won't break. When it goes to another monitor, if it gets printed, it'll still be a smooth value relationship. Okay. I gotta figure out this shoulder because it's awful. I think the shoulder should maybe just be part of the wing thing. Maybe not. Maybe that's the problem, is I'm going too far that way. What if we... Sorry to be a squeaky wheel, but there's a criminal lack of genitals. Aw. Well, these things do happen. To close that gap. There we go. Well, it's got bush now, so that's something. I mean, that's more than it had. Do I just take the chest into this thing? What am I doing here? That's kind of interesting. It's anatomically impossible, but sometimes that's okay. It's got very sort of Neon Genesis thing going on here. Whatever. So if that's the case, there, what I've just done, and we're going to move the arm forward. Now here's a question. Do we do some subsurface scattering? Could be fun. Subsurface scattering is always fun. Oh no! Dan Rob! I missed it for a second there. Dan Rob has redeemed a Wheel of Art Direction, so we're gonna have to do that real quick. You were debating if it was time or not. You hope it's nothing too harmful? It's always harmful. What are you talking about? I think that's the point, though, isn't it? Well, I'm painting, guys, so I don't see the chat the whole time. All right, let us go to the Wheel of Art Direction. Come on, load, you bastard. There it is. Okay, Wheel of Art Direction. Here we go. Let us see. For those of you that don't know, the Wheel of Art Direction is our sort of monkey wrench. It's meant to kind of mimic the experience of getting notes from an art director when you're working on an illustration or something like that. A lot of these notes are notes I've actually had or experienced at some point. Others are gathered from the Pocket Art Director, which is a dice game that you can get on Amazon. Less cartoony. All right, so here goes nothing. Let's see how we're going to destroy my dreams. I'm almost done with this painting, so why not art direct it? Thanks, guys. All right, here goes nothing. Oh God, why? It's spinning and spinning. Where it lands, cut an element. Son of a bitch. All right, so cut an element. That can mean a whole list of things. Let's go back to our painting. It's suffering time. So this is going to be a tough one because this is such a simple painting. There's only 3 elements really here. I wouldn't think that you guys would use it so much. You just love my pain. Peace Frog, hello, welcome. I think I will cut... shit. It's going to be major repainting. Remove one tree. Even removing a tree is a repaint. Cut air. The moon would be the easiest, yeah. Horns. Horns is good. That's actually pretty simple. I mean, it's still pretty clearly a demon without them. I won't get my Amun-Ra thing I was after, but... I should cut the lack of genitals. No genitals. None. It's lost the horn. If it was change an element, I could just change the horn, but it's a cut an element. Let's see. Something, I guess. Trim the bush. If I just wipe the horns, I'm gonna have to make you. What? What? You wouldn't. I know you would. I'm giving it genitals. Come on. Oh, shit. I fear nothing. It'd be funny if it was put back in an element. Done and done. Change one color. Oh, that's gonna be pretty simple. It's kind of a monocolor anyway. Okay. Oh, I'm having so much fun with his little horn. That's what she said. These art directors aren't too harsh. It's true. It's been a lucky day for me. Peace Frog, thank you for that follow. No. No. Little Batman ears. Yeah, I was thinking about that I could mimic the rhythm of the wings, but it was also kind of giving him this weird ruby rod thing. It wasn't quite working for me. I feel like this is so similar to our Snake Man. Well, anytime you get art direction, it means spending some time on something. Also, I'm having to solve things because the horns, even when the horns were on, the perspective of the head wasn't quite right, so I'm kind of having to solve for it now anyway. I was gonna have to get to it sooner or later. Come on, you bastard. There we go. Just feeling super antagonistic this year, eh? You can't rustle my jimmies. I survived 2020. All right. Why not? Why not? That seems doable, right? Something. Okay, so a new color. Question: Moon is technically warm light, and you're making it warmer than its surroundings. Why is the rim light cool? Huh. Why is the rim light cool? Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Because I wasn't done painting the moon yet, I'm going to do a final pass on the moon, which will make it brighter still. It's warm relatively, but it's still a very cool light. It's got greens and things like that. But yeah, it is a relative warm. What I generally... It's a artistic license thing, but also it's a situation where I know I'm going to want to, I don't know, build out some visual variety. We can easily change the colors to match. Right now I'm not too fussed about that. I'm more worried about getting everything lit and rendered because we can change those colors so easily. But it's a fair question. It's just because. You have an unrealistic expectation of how disruptive the wheel of art direction will be? I think so too. This looks cool. Not like the typical devil. Thanks, Adelheid. You can make the horns like Daredevil. Yeah, we could. Oh, that's something we were talking about here on the compound was like holiday rituals and foods. Do you guys have any interesting foods that you do that's specific to New Year's or Christmas? Cultural stuff, family stuff. One of the things that's really common in Mexico is, well, not even just Mexico. I think it's more Mexican American families. Tamales get made a lot. Those are pretty good. I like tamales, but I can't eat them anymore. See, I think part of the thinking when it comes to doing these kinds of paintings is not even these kinds of paintings, any paintings in general. When you get notes, the idea that the notes are going to make it worse or it's just extra work, right? If you can try and think about it in a way that no matter what, spending a little bit more time is going to make it better, like changing direction can make it better, then you'll have a better time with having to deal with notes. Because if you're working professionally as a commercial artist, you're going to get notes. It's always going to happen. It's just part of the game. So trying to find a way to make peace with it so that it's easier, that's going to make you a much happier painter, artist, designer, whatever. Okay, so color change. Let's see. We talked about the moon. We could do we could cool off the moon, but everything is quite green up there. Let's see. Do I cool off the moon or do I warm up the light on the figure? Questions, questions, questions. Let's try. There we go. See, so I think the value is way too bright with that. Maybe we could just set it to color. Yeah. Okay, change a color. Let's go ahead and introduce you to another thing that's kind of fun. I don't know. To do it, we're going to have to do it to every section of the painting, but we'll start at the very top. So down here, it's in the adjustment layers, they have something called the color lookup tables. Color lookup tables come from film. It's a post-processing color adjustment that you can load into Photoshop, and there's tons that you can get online. But there's several that just come with the system for the LUTs. I like using them for adjustment layers, usually at the very end. But let's explore them just so that I can show you guys how they work. But you can see here, this is the list that comes with Photoshop, and they're plenty. I don't really require anything more. But you can see there's a lot of different stuff. So we can do moonlight, night from day, and you can see how much they change things. This one is one of my favorites, a soft warming look. It kind of warms everything up, gives it a nice, kind of sweet, nostalgic coloring, teal and orange. A lot of these work best when you have a really, really bright painting. So dark painting, it's going to be a little bit tough. Tension green. You can see that what's happening with these, what they're doing is the lookup table has a list of information that changes how the different colors relate to each other. And in that way, because it's about color relationships, it doesn't just colorize something. You still have the relative reds. You still have relative color variations. So it's, in a lot of ways, it's much better than colorizing, because colorizing will just make everything look monochromatic, and that's not our goal. Futuristic bleak is great. This one's good for if you want to do this kind of mimics like a what is it? A white exposure, is that what it is, for your camera of like 3200. It cools everything off, desaturates like crazy. Foggy night, again, works much better on fully lit photos. Fall colors, that's a nice warm one. Actually, that's pretty good for what we're doing. But the great thing about the LUTs for Photoshop is you can really control what they affect by changing the opacity. And they also have, just like any other layer, the blend if modes, which is some of my favorite shit. So you can very, very much change the feeling and the mood of your painting just by altering the lighting and the color relationships, just subtly. And like I said, I always try to save these for like the very last bit, but it's invaluable for getting that sexy punch. So there's a color shift. Because I'm still painting, what we're going to have to do is put one on the figure and put one on the background. And that way, I can just merge all of this stuff down. Let's do both. Oops. We're doing the thing again. Bloody shitty mouse. Okay. Now every layer has the color lookup, and I have the correct color for the light. I also like how that warming thing kind of added this warm halo around the moon. It just softens. Look at how much it softens stuff. It's interesting. It softens a certain section of the gamut, but then also sharpens others. What a cool tool. Very fun. All right. Back to painting. Painting these creatures. And now we can go back to doing what I was trying to do before I was so rudely interrupted. We're going to do some little subsurface scattering fun. It's technically incorrect because this light is not bright enough really to create subsurface scattering, especially if any surface that's thick, but you know, a little ornamental color doesn't hurt nothing. Subsurface scattering works best when it's directly next to something that's in shadow, because then the shadowed part is what's allowing the light to come peeking through. I still don't like this shoulder. Just don't like it. It's not working for me. So much easier when you can just cover it up with another element. That's more fun that way. Laziness. All right, that back bit feels a little bit more figured out. I think we're gonna need a cast shadow from that surface. So in order to have that, we actually have to have light. Okie dokie. All right. We have noodled long enough with the wand light source. We have to introduce this secondary light source. And that means I got to make the decision now what that's going to be. We talked about sky fill. I'm afraid that sky fill will make it look like daytime now. So some solution needs to come here. All right, this layer can be on top of everything. Let's just try sky fill first. If it doesn't work, we can try something else. Maybe an artificial light source. I already like how the cools are playing against the warms though. That's fun. See how it's solving these problems I was having with these holes here of darks? It starts to round out the surface much more. If you want to have a nice three-dimensional looking painting, the more light sources that are affecting it, the better. Minimum 2, ideally 3. Painting across contours. It's all of these different illusions that come together to create three-dimensionality. You know, the variety of light sources, cross contour painting, playing with perspective, color relationships, atmosphere. They're all little tricks in your toolbox. Let's get the head. You've probably noticed that when I'm painting these fills, all of the fill lights really, they live in the shadows. And that's why they're called fill lights. They're shadow fill lights. That's what they're missing in the name of the thing. here in the face, I'm being very ambiguous, purposefully, kind of like a Mothman type thing. I think we're going to need to kill some of this reflected light. It's just a little too strong. How many of you paint when I'm painting? Anybody painting with me today? Kind of a wrestler mask thing going on. For all of the crazy things going on with the body, that neck just feels too normal. I'm gonna do something else with this. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so let's get back to our fill light. And I knew this was going to be a problem because this part of the figure is actually much lighter. And I think I've lit it already as though it had a fill light on it. So let's try levels and just kind of drop that mid-tone. And by doing this, I'm giving myself room to play with the lighter, relative lighter values of the sky fill. So it'll look brighter, hopefully. I think I want that fill. Let's go ahead and grab that selection. I want that fill on the backside to help round out this form a little bit more. I don't want to take it all the way to the edge. And this doesn't, you know, with a light source like we're talking about with the sky fill, it can't be the same brightness as the sky, or ideally it's not. You can alter that with photography and little tricks, but naturally it's going to be a little bit darker at that edge. And that is going to help turn that form just a touch. Just scumbling on top. Scumbling is a traditional painting term. Scumbling is when you really, it's kind of like dry brush, except you're doing it across a form. Instead of going after texture, what you're trying to do is tint, changing the value of a thing without losing the underlying layer. So it's very lightly painting, but painting uniformly across something. That's a scumble. There's so many weird words in painting. I found that to be the case with sailing too. It's just words that apply only to those activities. All right, there's one. Uh-oh. Oh, it's because I rotated. I lost my selection. Honestly, the most important thing that I get is going to be these ridges on his red baron wings. I'm blending, but not blending to ultimate softness. The goal here is to soften edges, but keep the textures of that brush stroke. Because the textures are directional. They're purposefully directional. As we get deeper down the arm, it's going to be diminishing returns because it's becoming more and more parallel to our light source. Alright, I'm going to hush up now and just paint. Which means I get more music, louder. Hi, Avid. Happy New Year. Welcome. Why is the belly so reflective? Isn't the main light coming from the moon? Yeah, the main light is coming from the moon, but I'm creating a false secondary light source out of the fill, just so that I can show off that particular material. So it's a narrative decision to alter the lighting situation just a touch. Yeah, no worries. Just like this reflected light right here that I have that's kind of bouncing from the moon onto the interior of the plates of the arm back up onto the face. I've overdone it a little bit just to kind of accentuate the face a little bit more. So, you know, they always say rules are there meant to be broken, right? This is true in painting too, but we're doing it for when we do it, there needs to be reasons to do it. Even if it doesn't work, there should still be a reason for it. Mm. Let's do a full vignette. Mm. Mm. Hi, Bubek. Hello, this is looking really cool. Is it for something or just a piece I'm doing for fun? It's just for fun. It's mostly what we do in here. Just hang out and paint random crap. I usually try to do things that are kind of uh, functionally in the realm of fantasy illustration, sci-fi illustration, things like that, because most of the people that study with me are trying to get into doing illustration or concept art, you know, for magic or video games, things like that. So I just run you through kind of what I do. So see this edge control pass I'm doing where I'm softening the shit out of some edges? This is something that happens naturally when you're traditionally painting. But when you're digitally painting, it's so easy to leave everything as a harsh silhouette. And I think it's one of the biggest tells between traditional and digital painting. Even this edge I can soften in order to frame the face, which I can sharpen. Just work it back and forth. See, to me, this side feels ultra digital. You do the same with your edges? Absolutely. Oh, shit. All right. Fun times. I think we're done with this one. As is our standard fashion, we need to think up a name. What are we going to name this critter? Beelzebub? No, I don't know. Thanks, Avid. I flip it at the end because I want to try and see what is the better narrative. I'm leaning more towards the explorative one rather than the confrontational one. Shield arms. Devil Dillo. Yeah, sweet. I think if I were to put more time into this, I could probably go in and add some more details into the grass and the ground plane and things like that. But I feel like we have a good solid focal point. The focal point's clear. The read's decent. Edges are okay. It's good enough. Good enough. All right. Awesome. Well, thanks for hanging out, gang, on our Saturday edition. Is right facing considered explorative? No, not necessarily. These are the shorthand that I use because I paint and come from a culture that reads left to right. Then the narrative from that reading system is left to right. So if the character is on the left side facing right, they're generally experienced or read as going somewhere. And if they are opposite that on the right facing left, then it will feel more like they are stopping something. Not necessarily confrontational or explorative. It's just one gives a sense of motion and the other one gives a sense of a halting and a confrontation of some kind. But it doesn't necessarily mean violence or anything like that. It could just be like, this character is pausing versus this character is moving. And it's none of that. It's all subjective and totally read by the viewer more than by intent. I just try to give it a minimum of intent and then just pack it full of random symbolism, because then people will find whatever they want in it. Because, that's how it is. Death of the author and all that. Thanks for joining us there at the end. I Bubek. Gang, as always, super fun. We meet regularly on Mondays and Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard, and on the weekend, Saturday usually, sometime around here. If you want to catch up on previous episodes, they're archived on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Izzy Medrano. To see this artwork as JPEGs and just follow my art in general, there's the Instagram and the Twitter, which you have seen posted here, there, here, that way. So yeah, give the follows, do the things, the subs, all that good shit. Thanks for hanging out. Until Monday, as always, paint smart, paint sexy. I'm Izzy, a professional writer, concept artist, and illustrator. I've taught painting for a dozen years or so, on and offline. Many of your favorite illustrators and designers have studied with me or under me and have gone on to teach in their own right. You're here because, like they did, you want to learn to paint realistically for illustration or concept art. Well, worry not. You're in the right place. Grab a seat. I want you to join me as I explain all the aspects of image making in extremely digestible and clear monthly lessons. Not through the lens of silly how to paint hair or eye demos. That shit is carnival tricks. And you're not really learning anything except an exact way to render one thing in one manner. This is painting mysticism at its worst. Watching these kinds of exploitative lessons won't help you level up with your understanding. Sure, now you can paint sparkly hair, but what if you want to paint a dragon, or figure out how to render a sea of fire, or depict a one-eyed transgender space marine dying in the vacuum of space? Painting and image making are tools of communication, and can be learned by anyone willing to put in some time. Like grammar is for language, light, color, and form literally follow a formula. Painting well is not a matter of chicken bones, zombie crackers, and the ever-dismissive concept of talent. Learning with my series, Izzy's Logic of Light and Color, will give you the tools and understanding so you can analyze light and form in reality and bring it to life in your work. Using this simple system I have distilled will help you harness your art to share your ideas as you've always intended. When we are children, we all draw in symbols. Symbols for our house, our hands, the sun, the grass, our pet lobster. As we grow into artists, we must learn to throw away symbols and begin to draw and paint what it is we actually see.
And as we grow further, we learn to paint beyond what we see and what is actually there. Until finally we move beyond this and learn to trim away what is actually there so we voice only what we want. With me, you're going to have to buckle in and maybe take some pain meds, because I'm going to rip out your normal person's eyes and replace them with a painter's eyes. I'm going to restructure how you see and how you understand what you're seeing. I'm going to turn you into a painting machine. Truly, anyone can learn to paint realistically if they can both determine what they're seeing or imagining with basic and straightforward rules. Once you understand the mechanics of light, color, and form in reality, you will have the capacity to paint anything you can see or imagine realistically. After that, the real fun begins. Here are some of the ways you can join me and master the logic of light and color. The very first lesson of my series is totally free on my YouTube channel. In that lesson, I give you the 3 primary rules of light that are the very foundation of painting and understanding light itself. If you do nothing else to make your painting mastery easier, at least watch this amazing little lesson. It will do more for your basic understanding of light than just about any tutorial you can find. When you're ready to get deeper and you feel like you have those first rules figured out, allow me to utterly blow your mind with the next episodes available on Gumroad and ArtStation. As we go deeper into the rules underlying the logic of light and color, I carefully and simply explain important and interesting elements. From beginner to pro, there is an amazing amount of information available. Each concept has been distilled into the clearest explanation you're likely to find anywhere. Like episode 2, where we cover the atmospheric effect and how that relates to light, scale, and distance of objects in reality, and how to render it. Or episode 3, where I hand over the ultimate key to controlling value in your paintings. Episodes 5 through 8 are all about rendering materials. Want to understand the logic behind rendering metal, leather, hair, transparency, damn near anything. I even cover the logic behind painting special effects like fire, neon, or lightsabers in later episodes. The lessons just get